One of the things you begin to notice through observation from this criminal network and demonic coven is more than just flying monkeys, stalking, and monitoring. It's also the use of EMTs, the use of emergency vehicles. When you hear sirens oftentimes in different parts of town, in and around places that are frequent by so-called targeted individuals, a lot of times you'll find that there's no immediate threat or emergency taking place, but rather these sirens are going off to alert the community at large and to alert the flying monkeys and the participants within this criminal organization that there needs to be more hands on deck. You'll also observe and notice within this criminal network and organization that certain individuals within the EMTs, particularly the ambulances, are using specific or particular frequencies, harmful frequencies, and energy weapons. Also, early on, when this ordeal began, 2023, up and around Connecticut area, and even in Georgia, there were many false alarms by way of the demonic practices, low vibrational practices, and most definitely counting on the use of the harmful frequencies that was supposed to have adverse effect, but a desired outcome. And so several times I remember there being many false alarms where they would pull up. At the time I was sleeping in my vehicle, and at night I would cover my windows up with cardboard and trash bags. And I would, sleep, through the night. And I remember it being cold. It was around the winter time. And I remember asking the mayor, sending the mayor, because I had been in, conversation and talks with his campaign manager. I believe her name was Jessica. And I was telling her about the large group that was stalking me at the time. And I hadn't been home in some time. And I went back to Connecticut around 2023, first September, and then again in October. I went September, then October. The first time I had lost my bags, and then I went back to Georgia waiting, for Grand Central to retrieve my bags and give me a call. Then I ended up going back up there from Georgia to Connecticut, through New York and New Jersey and all that. But I remember when I reached home, the mayor was, going through another set of indictments, federal indictments. And I thought time had rewinded itself because the same mayor had already gone to federal prison from being indicted many decades prior. And then when I got home, to take care of some business, the same mayor had been released from federal prison only to be indicted all over again, but at the same time running to be reelected. And I remember seeing it on the news and like, wow, times have changed, but not so much. But at the same time, simultaneously, when I went up there, the same vehicles that had, or the same group, I would say, that had been stalking me in Georgia from Gwinnett County to Cobb County to Fulton County, and, back to Gwinnett, the same group, organization, fraternity, criminal organization had begun stalking me while I was up north in the tri-state New England area. Even so bold, there was one of the vehicles from Georgia with Georgia license plates that I recognized that was stalking me every single day in Georgia had the nerve to be up all the way up in Connecticut. And I'm like, how obvious can this whole situation be? And then I was, sending emails to the mayor and talking to his campaign manager because he was running for re-election. And I was asking him to, utilize the cameras at, headquarters to see the abnormal activities of this large group. 2, 3 in the morning, pausing in the middle of State Street and Fairfield Avenue, near and around Park Avenue, and slowly driving up the street, car after car. Abnormal activities. And you can see them, parking convoy style and, flying past my car. This is when they was using these particular frequencies, right? And this is when the false alarm with the EMT vehicles had pulled up with the sirens and everything, thinking, and they was actually, waiting to see what happened. It was so much observation taking place. These were the early stages where the divine hadn't even begun to work with me with intuition, and all I knew is that, this thing was bigger than myself, and that most definitely there was foul play and people around me attempting to sacrifice me. And of course, everything boils down to money. But all the intricate workings and details and who had not begun to fully kick in to my awareness, because I was still focused on, not fully wanting to accept, the situation, and trying to focus on taking care of my business. And that's when the divine was waiting for me to connect with them fully, to see the bigger picture of, through it all, while everybody abandoned me and betrayed me and attempted to sacrifice me, the only ones that was there for me was my beloved angels, my beloved ancestors, my ancient overseers, the divine. And once I came to that realization, it was time to get to work. It was time, for the divine to be able to work through me and use me as a vessel and a tool, and for us to co-create and, to train and teach me, to show me that it's a co-creative relationship between us here, the descendants of our, high vibrational ancestors, and the divine, the cosmos, and the universe. And so that began, this awakening for me. And in a way that I hadn't experienced from since childhood, I started receiving, visions and downloads. But of course, as a child, you don't really know what a download is or a vision is. I just know that several times as a child, I've had some magnificent experiences of being above the earth, looking outside of a window and feeling a presence behind me, and confirming, years later, that Archangel Michael was with me. But there was also, the dreams where I was always being chased and, seeing it as fun. I had a particular ghost who resembled Casper when I was around 5, when I was young. And I will always have this reoccurring dream, this reoccurring theme of being chased, and this ghost chasing me around the projects and never being able to catch up to me, and always being on the way on the other side, looking through the hallway windows, and I'm at the other hallway, and we looking through the windows and the staircases, and we can see each other from the opposite ends. And I learned early on that I was able to not manipulate, but kind of maneuver through my dreams in a different type of way. And so I always felt comfortable in that way. But going back to the EMT, right, the emergency services vehicles, and I begin to observe that a lot of times these vehicles is also utilized more than just the sellouts, the flying monkeys who, pretend they don't know what's going on, the fake Truman Show actors, the people that's all in on it participating, because everybody in the community, a 9 out of 10, knows what's going on, has been recruited, and is participating. But they all pretend and act like they don't see what's going on or they don't know what's going on. But they're all specifically posted up, recruited from a part of this criminal network and, demonic coven, demonic cult. And But more than just them, when a lot of times when you see the EMTs, when you see the emergency vehicles, and when you see, orchestrated pullovers, right? And they're sitting there for a while, and they're going through all the motions, but they're sitting there for a while, and somehow when you watch closely, you like, this is orchestrated. It's all around the same targeted individual. All of these different activities is orchestrated. And so, again, the sirens, when you hear them, a lot of times there's no emergency. And I've recorded a lot of these instances. And I think, but a few weeks ago, day after day for a week straight, especially up and around North Avenue area, you would have the supervisor vehicles every night like clockwork, sirens. So let me ask you all something. Is there the same emergency every night simultaneously, every night, different nights of the week, where the supervisor vehicle have to sound the alarm? Or is the same night every week with the alarms is being sounded, orchestrated with the targeted individual being in that neighborhood in the vicinity? Or is there an emergency that just so happens to take place every single night around the same time? Think about that. So these are the observations that you begin to see and realize that, this is like I said in the previous video, I don't think I posted it. It's a well-oiled machine, not too bright, even though you have prestigious individuals with titles and accolades who are supposed to be honorable, respected, but the overall, execution and, orchestrating of these events, and, it's not, whoever's quarterback in this group, it's not really, not that even well thought is the idea, because groups like this should not exist. You shouldn't have groups and individuals causing and creating tyranny in the community, in the environment, in order to maintain the status quo, in order to, harm and create demise for innocent people, innocent souls who are just simply trying to live their life. Groups like this should not exist. It's diabolical. It's evil, right? It's downright plain old evil for these systems that's supposed to be in place for people. Shelters, community centers, churches, all of these things are supposed to be safe havens. But yet they're all being utilized. All of these devils and cowards and bullies and clowns is hiding within these organizations and institutions while they commit atrocious, wicked, cowardly, evil deeds and actions. And instead of the people in the community saying something is wrong with this picture here, why are we participating? This is backwards. Why are we not standing up and speaking up against the injustices? Why are we sellouts and clowns going along with the tyranny that this criminal network and organization is committing against innocent people? Nobody's asking the question. Does this person deserve what's being done to them in the community? Is it right? Why are we all going along with it? Do we not have other opportunities to acquire skills and training that we can make money instead of making it this way, selling our soul for $1 while an innocent person at an innocent person's expense? Is there another way for us to make money rather than watching another person be affected by the injustices, by us being weirdos and stalkers and helping them perfect technology? Everybody in the community use the phone. They have frequencies on the phone that's meant to affect your overall health. They start out with sleepy frequencies. If the sleepy frequencies work to get you to doze off, that's just the beginning. I'm not sure if these people understand that there are other frequencies that's used to create heart attacks, strokes, to mess with your organs, right? They might tell these people, well, it's just to make them, fall asleep and distract them. But once they get past the sleepy frequencies, these idiots is helping them perfect other frequencies that's meant to give you a stroke or a heart attack. I'm not sure if they realize that they're helping them perfect technology that's going to be used on them and their loved ones. But if they knew that, who in their right mind would participate? So, in plain sight, you have a criminal network and organization of bullies and clowns and fake masons and fake Eastern stars and people who and fake clergy and reverends and pastors who hide in plain sight within these churches and these fraternities and these community centers and these shelters, and they're all participating simultaneously with these evil, cowardly, wicked, and evil deeds, causing tyranny in the community. And they're all consciously aware of what they're participating in. And yet, they still go along with it. But I just wanted to, because it was on my mind. A lot of times when you hear the sirens, it's not because it's an emergency. It's because it's a signal to say we need more hands on deck. We need that particular environment to be aware that the targeted individual is in the proximity, is in the environment, is in the vicinity. And that's a lot of times when you hear these sirens, it's not because it's an emergency. It's because these devils, this criminal organization is saying, yo, all of you sellouts and clowns that's been recruited, we need y'all to be aware that it's in that area. And so we need all hands on deck. Yeah. But yeah, I'm going to leave it right here.